What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the crew, and in this video I'm going to take a look at the Ford F-150 SVT Raptor from Outer Space Edition. This thing was actually in the Summit last week as well, so I do want to take a look at it. It's definitely going to be on the unique side, especially compared to basically every other rally raid vehicle, and mostly the Raptors as well. So for this, all you can actually do is change the color. You obviously can't really do much to it visually because, well, it has a UFO in the back of the pickup there. Also, you have some gas as well and a shovel, so at least you can dig a hole to put this thing somewhere and maybe keep an eye on it. You also have some fuel to get back and forth if you happen to get lost somewhere. And one of my favorite things, guys, the fact that it is indeed a dually, which I did mention in most of these Summit videos. But overall, I really do love the look of this thing. For example, guys, the rims on this truck are going to look insanely good. I really wish I can actually put those on some of the other rally raid vehicles in the game as well. We also have a really nice stepping board on the bottom that also is paint matched with the front bumper. You will also have a winch on the front of this thing, so I really do love the detail that's in it. It's definitely going to look insanely cool compared to many of the other rally raid vehicles. I would say a lot of people are probably going to be generally surprised with the way it handles. After racing this thing around for a bit, guys, I'm honestly pretty shocked with the fact that it's not terrible. I was kind of thinking with it being a dually that it wasn't going to be all that good. It turns out I'm definitely going to be wrong on that, but nonetheless though, let's go take an outside look of the Raptor right now and also take another look at that interior. Then we definitely have to do a quick top speed test and jump into one of the rally raid events to really see what this Raptor can do. So now taking an outside look of the Raptor, you guys are probably going to notice the UFO is going to be lighting up in the back there. One of the biggest things I noticed about this thing is probably going to be the camera angle being kind of wonky. That's obviously going to be for good reasoning because the truck is definitely pretty wide and it probably does want you to see the entire thing obviously when you're racing it. Now I know this might sound kind of insane, guys, but hear me out for a quick second. Can you all imagine having some diesels in one of these racing games, like having a turbo diesel or something like that? I know it would be kind of weird to have some of those in any of these classes, so they might need to be in their own class, but I really do think that would honestly be pretty awesome to see in some of these racing games. But taking a look at the interior, one thing I did notice is, for one, well, it really isn't going to be that much different from the regular Raptor, which I kind of expected it. I wasn't going to expect like a weird alien sitting in the passenger seat or like a little UFO in here. It's obviously going to basically be normal. At least the dash does work for the most part. Even though the dash and the interior view of this truck is probably not going to have that much detail, I would say most people, my goodness, that was so close. That is always why you guys do not want to park on a railroad track, my goodness, but I also feel like many people are most likely going to be in third person view because of the detail on this vehicle. And one thing I was also noticing is the fact that I'm still wearing this Christmas sweater with a really weird UFO in the back of my truck. That's definitely not going to be something you would always see, but let's see what the top speed of the Raptor is going to be. So for this, I decided to jump onto the railroad because this is kind of off-road. I did want to head over to the salt flats because I do like testing vehicles out over here, and I figured, you know what, let's jump on the railroad and really see what this thing can do. Obviously watching out for the train as well, but overall, guys, I would actually say the Raptor is probably going to be pretty dang surprising to many players because I was really not expecting this thing to be any good, and it really does turn out it's going to be faster than many of the other rally raid vehicles. Apparently, you can also not jump over rocks with this thing, which, my goodness, this is not working. Okay, I really have no idea what I was just doing there, but let's see what this thing can actually get to on the railroad track right now. So when I was testing this vehicle out in some of the races, I was hitting around 175 miles per hour or so. So I do think this thing is pretty dang quick. So 178 miles per hour is going to make it faster than many of the other rally raid vehicles. For example, guys, the Ram is only going to do like 165 or so, which makes it a bit slower than many of the rally raid vehicles, so at least the Raptor here is going to have a higher top speed. So when testing out the Raptor from outer space, one of the first things I actually noticed was it does handle pretty dang good for having dual tires on the back of it. I really was expecting this thing to honestly not be that great, but well, guys, it actually turns out the Raptor is going to have some really good handling and stability, and who knows, maybe having an extra tire back there on each side is actually going to help that in some way. I was noticing jumping off certain ramps or like going around certain turns with it. It felt so planted to the ground with really no issues at all. I would say it's almost on par with like the regular Raptor Enforcer unit and or similar to the Ram Enforcer unit as well. Like this thing handles that good. It's also going to have really nice stable driving as well to it. Like for example, if you guys had to go around a tree or like dodge a rock and or my case probably run into one, at least you'll be able to actually go around the rock and or tree pretty easily, and like the vehicle won't lose its mind. I have noticed some of the rally raid vehicles do not like it when you try to whip them back and forth. They basically lose control and or basically make you go right into the tree. And of course, when you're actually racing, the goal is not to run into every tree, but to actually dodge them. I would say some of the vehicles on the Crew 2 with the way they handle is probably going to make that a lot harder than it should be. What's definitely surprising is the fact that the Outer Space Edition doesn't have that issue at all. I really was not expecting that with this vehicle. I do feel like this truck is going to be insanely unique in so many ways, and I feel like a lot of players are most likely going to try this thing out once again, even if they did manage to get this last time it was out, and or maybe they did just jump on the game, and they're like, you know what, let me try to get this truck and see how it actually is. Obviously, racing this thing, guys, in that summit probably didn't really give it that much justice. It's going to have no pro settings on it, plus it's also going to be basically no set either, so it's going to be insanely slow, at least compared to many of the other rally raid vehicles. But once you guys throw some pro settings and or a nitro chemist set on this thing, it really does wake up the outer space so much, and I feel like it's going to be a really fun truck to use. Not only does this thing actually seem to be very versatile, but I would even say you could probably run this vehicle on most of the summit events and still score very similar to like something like the Raptor Enforcer unit, which I would still say to this day is going to be one of the best rally raid vehicles in the game. Having something like the Raptor here, which is kind of hilarious considering it's another Raptor, and it's also going to be insanely good, you really can't hate on the naturally aspirated 6.2 liter. I really do love the sound of these in real life, my goodness, and the fact that they threw an extra wheel on the back, and they also made the fitment of the truck actually fit as well is just so awesome. I also really do like the way the bumper and the light bar on the top is actually going to be color matched as well. It does look really dang good with this thing, and again guys, if you actually wanted to, at least you can change the color of it so you can actually make it kind of unique and or, you know, add like a livery to it. I'm not really surprised you can't really customize some of these Summit vehicles, but I would also find it to be pretty awesome if you could change some of the things around on them. Like maybe not necessarily completely remove everything, but maybe change a few parts around, similar to like the Lamborghini Performante or something I think would be awesome. And I feel like a lot of people have been requesting the ability to actually change parts around on some of the Summit vehicles, which I can definitely see that being a pretty awesome feature. I really do hope we might be able to see that in the new game, but overall, guys, I really do think the Outer Space Edition is going to be a pretty awesome truck. Not only is it going to look really unique, but it's also going to have some pretty dang good performance as well, which I really do think many people are going to like this vehicle once they test this thing out. Let me know what you guys think about the Outer Space Edition in the comments below, and here are the settings I'm currently running on this vehicle.